Welcome back to another One Punch Man 2 review. Today is episode 10. I'm Justin.
What is up? I'm Logan.
And together we're Shock. As always, we're anime viewers only, no source material, and we're going to discuss the episode and give our scores at the end. You ready?
I'm always ready.
So yeah, Monster Association inside the Human Association. Basically, Gero, who's the officer, came to present a message, kind of makes them think that, oh, they're tired of being oppressed and they will never attack or intrude the humans again. And they want to live in harmony. Which apparently that guy was like, oh, I knew they were going to call for a ceasefire. I was like, what do you think of, man? They're demons. They're monsters. They don't...
Right, and why would you think that? You guys weren't really winning, were you? At first I was like, I really hope this isn't like a real plea, because this is kind of lame. If they're just like, we want to, be peaceful monsters.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, nah, JK.
Yeah, just shoots the guy in the head. It's like, that was deserved, man. Kind of deserved. Like, oh, it's just a joke. You have 3 days to rescue the child. Or stuff, I guess. But,
or stuff.
They're going to do it again. But, Super Alloy Black Luster, rank S, or S, rank 11, shows up.
Rank S is also correct.
He's just kind of like a Puri, just not flamboyant about it. He's also like, but he's more
super buff.
Yeah, they're just both buff guys, kind of like showing off their bodies in a way.
Right.
So yeah, he kills the thing. Even the little, oh, it wasn't actually dead. It could take over bodies or something. And he just smashes it too. So it's got that strong skin. So another hero we're shown. That's his whole screen time, I'm guessing.
Probably, yeah. It feels like this season they're just trying to name drop as many. Like, we know we made a bunch of ranks. We will prove that we actually have characters for these ranks, and then just start dropping all these characters.
We do go into the Monster Association and how basically they want to make humans extinct, and King Orochi
very monster-like.
Yeah, very monster.
Very.
Had some doubters in his midst. Like, well, first he ate the roach guy for failing.
Yes. If you fail, you get eaten. Except Miss S was spared.
Yeah, she was spared.
No more mess-ups, though.
Yeah, no more mess-ups. And then people were questioning his power, and then they stopped. So, the typical baddie stuff where everyone thinks they're the great bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty... It's not like a revolutionary motive for the monsters. It's just like, kill the humans. It's like, alright, we can go with it. Whatever.
We see Genos got repaired. Then Metal Knight and the other S-rank person were talking.
The little kid one.
Yeah, I can't remember which one.
I can't remember his name either.
I have it in my notes, but they're all in my notes. They're all scattered, and it's because they're all boop, 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 I don't even care, right? But they were talking. Metal Knight is like, why don't we just not rescue the child? Just nuke the monsters, and we know where they're all gathered at. It's like not very hero-y.
Not very. Yeah.
We usually go over that, how the heroes in this aren't very like hero types. They're not in it to be heroes, so not really surprised.
Is it probably the most efficient?
Not a bad idea.
I'll say, is it the most efficient way? Probably. Morally, not quite. There is a person, but maybe you sacrifice one for the many.
One for the many. Like Dororo, all over you. Sacrifice one for the many. Call it good. It's just a child.
Yes. So, but yeah, they're like, nah, we're gonna we're gonna send in pretty much a rescue team to go get them back.
That's their goal, is just throw everyone in there, because the funding, they need the money.
They need the funding. I guess would
to rebuild the cities over and over and over since they keep getting demolished. I guess is what the money's for.
Right. You think like that would be...
This world doesn't have very much monetization going on, right?
But you think that would be funded regardless like if there's literally this many monsters that always attack, people would pay to keep the Hero Association just for their own safety, right?
The Hero Association, like, if they're just already at their locations, half the time they're called or whatever, they're already there.
Right, but I'm assuming the Hero Association pays the heroes, which is why it keeps on going. And then they get money from these big, I guess, these rich people.
I guess true, but I mean, if you're a hero and save people, you think the grocery store is going to charge you if you saved them?
True. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know how the
Thanks for saving me. That's $100.
Hey, some people got to make a living. Like, hey, but these goods ain't free. You might be a hero, but I need some money too.
Making a living seems weird in this world. I guess that's always, every time your home's just destroyed every week.
Yeah. Insurance companies probably lose tons of money. Yeah. Or there or none. They're just like, whatever.
Then we had, like, all the announcements were made in the paper, kind of leaked by the monsters or whatever, basically to gather all the heroes, but at the same time, summon all the monsters to a location, which unfortunately that location had to be where Saitama was walking, and he killed literally like thousands.
He just murdered a giant group. Very easy. Very Saitama.
Yeah. The other big crux, though, was just GAROU. Thankfully, that kid was still there with his book that shows all the monsters, or not monsters, the heroes' information. And he had a fight. I think it was like 8 of them. I think.
Yeah, there was a bunch of heroes led by
Death Gatling, Spiral Man, Stinger, others.
So yeah,
they're all specialized like together in a way to be able to keep them contained.
Right. It was a big team effort to capture GAROU alive, actually, and it does. GAROU's also injured pretty severely, which is kind of also levels the playing field. So
just keeps going out of fight.
Right. I will say the fight was much better than most fights. We actually got to see them like actually, fight, and it was more like a strategic fight. Like he's like, oh, if I get too far, I'll be shot down by the ranged people. If I get too close, they have these two are going to come at me. It's like, okay, that's interesting. It also looked a bit better. And strangely enough, I wanted GAROU to win. I don't know why. Maybe because he's like an actual character for the most part. At least the other ones are pretty much just names to me, but GAROU, there is some resemblance of a character, especially towards the little kid. He kind of has like a small connection with him.
Yeah, it's just still weird for him wanting to be a monster.
Right. I feel like
that's what I said. His character's not fully there yet. But he's closer to just being name dropped, right? So it's like
right. I feel like I don't want to say he thinks he wants to be a monster. I think he's just like doesn't really know.
Probably just bored, I guess. And
it's probably a combination of bored or like doesn't know what he wants to be, so he just kind of, I don't know. It is weird. But
he almost seems like if Suryu took a different path, where he's kind of like doing it. He wants to be strong, and that's really it. That's his end game, is just to be strong, to fight everybody. It's like to prove it's like he's doing it to make a name of himself.
Right. It is interesting. I do think he needs to be fleshed out more, obviously, but he's been fleshed out probably the most this season.
Yeah, it's weird to say that at the same time saying he hasn't been fleshed out well enough. Right.
Well, that's because legit. We've been over this before. Obviously, Saitama, it's hard to flesh him out now. I feel like we almost peaked season 1 with him. The only way you could
flesh out like King with him more so, which King's a character, but
King started out. He had like those first couple episodes, and then now he just kind of turns into Saitama's video game buddy. And then Genos just, I feel like, just fights, gets repaired, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, GAROU's our main character for the season. So
I feel like it's different though as we go along, because it was like Suryu for a couple episodes, and then now it's like, now we're done with him. Let's go on to the next thing. It's like, what character's next?
That's why I think the story, there's not like a main focus, because we kind of have like Like Syria, we had a bit him questioning heroes. We have Garou wanting to be a monster. We have the Monster Association doing their thing, but none of them really intertwine. I mean, yes, they have a common, like, they have heroes as a common thing, but that's not enough to make the stories. It's not like Garou's joining the Monster Association, which could make it more interesting. It's not like Siryu is fighting against heroes because he's questioning them. It's just kind of, they all kind of have like all these different stories that we're doing, but none of them are really long enough or interesting enough to like make this story super interesting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think it makes it made sense to me.
Yeah, I get it. That does it though.
Yeah, so let's just jump into scores.
Yeah.
I will say 6. I thought it was all right. It's kind of good. I will say the fighting was better. It's still not near season 1. Like, you could still see stuff that was off during the fight, but it was better. It wasn't like Garou walks out, flash, Garou escapes or whatever. Like, kind of what we have been getting. It was an actual fight, so that was nice. The Monster Association stuff, I feel like the longer it goes on, the less interesting it gets.
Yeah, it's just like any other kind of monster thing now at this point.
Right, because like
humans extinct. Wow, good thing we said all this.
Because like we know what's gonna happen. Saitama's gonna one punch the Monster King, right? Like,
oh, at most it could be 2 punches.
It could throw in a curveball and have Garou fight the Monster King. That would be interesting, but that's not gonna happen. But it's just, I mean, I don't blame them. Well, I do blame them for the story not being interesting because they chose to continue it. But it is hard. I will say it would be hard to write a story about a character who just literally is so strong it one hits everything when you've kind of peaked.
Yeah, they should have kept it as a one shot.
Because ever since the Boros fight from season 1, because he's clearly ahead of literally any other character we've seen in the show besides Saitama, right? Mm-hmm. Once they introduced him and Saitama beat him, every other enemy just became so irrelevant, it's not interesting.
Yeah, I guess unless King Orochi is even bigger and stronger.
Yeah, probably not. The fact that he's not fighting and he's just, this big scary threat is going to lead up to the big joke that he still gets one hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm going to go with the 5. I agree with the Garou, and the fight at the end was a little bit better, but like the whole Saitama King playing games, yeah, it's kind of funny. But outside of that, there's not a lot of I don't know, the build up doesn't seem worth it. Like at the end, it's not gonna be worth it. Like,
right,
this whole episode, like, okay, why the monsters are there leaving their message or whatever. Oh, the guy fell for it. They shot him, yada. And it's like constant name dropping. We're not building out these characters, and it's like, I don't care about Super Alloy Blackluster. Okay, I just don't. I don't care about the other 10 S ranks that we've been told about because none of them matter. And every time you bring it up, they get pushed off to the side. Like, like even the other more important characters, kind of like Sonic in season 1 was when we wrote. We got a little bit of Sonic last episode. We're not moving on with what happens with the monster cells after him cooking and eating. Do they anything happen? No. We're just moving on from that, I guess. So it's like,
right.
It's like, okay, we got some.
And just
we're not going to flush out more of like Genos and his story, how it's still incomplete.
Right, because like this
revenge thing.
The story in general is like when you watch stories, you either watch, interesting storyline, character growth, all that stuff, like the plot. This one doesn't really have a strong of any of those. Like the storyline, it's a guy who one hits things. Monsters want to kill all the people. It's like, okay, that's kind of like soup. And then characters, unfortunately, this show has really weak. This season especially has really weak characters because there's lots of characters. There's quantity of characters. There's not quality of characters. Like, we don't focus on a character enough to like even see a difference. Like every character that's been introduced is the same as when they were introduced. Besides maybe Saitama a bit, but even him, he's still kind of questioning.
he was done so well in the first season. It's like, and now this season they're kind of like,
Right, like
it's like they're trying to not use. They're kind of like using him to try to build out other characters, but at the same time they're just not doing it.
you can see it sometimes they try to sideline him so other characters can get their spotlight, but like there's no legitimate way to sideline him, right? Like because he's so strong.
Yeah.
The only
and
way I
it's
could
like-
think is maybe he gets
and
a
the-
deadly sickness or something where he's other characters have to step up, but no, he just
And the characters we flush out are just gone an episode later anyway, or two.
yeah, that's true.
We spent like 3 episodes with Suryu, and he's never coming back.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's it.
That is
It's spiel time.
As always, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, you notify every time we upload. Comment down below, let us know what you thought about the episode. We didn't like, and until next time, peace out.
See ya.